Front, we're less than a day away from the big pick. Of course, you'd have to have been living under a rock not to know that the Chargers have the second pick in this weekend's NFL draft. Now, we know they're going to get a quarterback, a franchise quarterback, but we just don't know whether it's Peyton Manning or Ryan Leaf until after the Colts make their first pick. We do know that it's likely to be Leaf, and we do know that he wants to come here. Leaf reportedly has already shopped around for oceanfront property in the county. And from the sound of Charger fans we talked to, they have a preference as well. You bet they will.
New York City, the Big Apple. Madison Square Garden, the site of so many major big-time sporting events. And inside at the theater, they're ready. And some of the best players, we'll hear from them very early. Peyton Manning. Will he go first to the Colts? Or will it be Ryan Leaf that goes first to the Colts and second to the Chargers? Charles Woodson, the Heisman Trophy winner. We'll hear from him very early. And the running back that everybody covets, Penn State's Curtis Enis. We are eagerly anticipating the start of what may go down in history when we look back 10 years from now as the high watermark draft of the entire decade of the 90s. The Indianapolis Colts have been, which quarterback do they go with? Peyton Manning, Ryan Leaf. Our Mark Malone is out in Indianapolis. Let's get the last word before it's official. Mark?
Well, the last word is that Bill Polian and Jim Mora, this organization, Boomer, they're not making it public in terms of who they've decided on. They spent many hours last night, very late, trying to separate these two quarterbacks. Bill Polian had told me that earlier in the day, they had them about a tenth of a point apart. They were very, very close. They spent most of the night separating those two. And I had probably one of the most interesting philosophical discussions about quarterbacks with Polian that I've had in a long time. For about an hour last night, we discussed the pros and cons of these two guys. First of all, Polian says that he's not enamored necessarily with big, strong guys, although both of these quarterbacks are 6'5". Peyton Manning, it seems to me, is the guy that has the most experience, and that ultimately is going to be, I think, the difference in this draft. He played the extra year, certainly, as he came back, 6'5", 230. He's got more game time experience. He prepares well. Again, the nickname, the caveman, that he's been tagged with by his teammates because he watches so much film. And when you look at all the intangibles that Bill Polian really researches and looks at in a quarterback, especially with the track record this franchise has had over the last decade or two in terms of quarterbacks, they need to make the right choice. He's not saying, Boomer, but I can tell you this. In my gut, if I was playing poker with him, I think it's going to be Peyton Manning.
I think if we had to go out on a limb, that would be our guess. But you know what? They earned this 4 months of keeping everybody in suspense. Let them keep it for another.
Surely have a preference because both bring a lot to the table. These are both very good athletes. They're both very big young football players. When you take a look at the opportunities that they've had to play, you have to take a look at the experience that Peyton Manning has. He's played a lot longer. As a matter of fact, Ryan Leaf played 2 years in high school, 2 years in college. Peyton Manning played all 4 years in college, so he's played more just in college. Leadership, because Manning has played more, he has that ability, but Ryan Leaf jumped up a lot in his senior year. Maturity, again, because Manning has played so much football, he gets the edge there. Physical skills, Ryan Leaf brings just a ton of natural talent. And the conversation that you have with the personnel people and the coaches regarding these young men is the upside in Ryan Leaf is terrific. What you get from Peyton Manning right now is a wonderful, polished athlete. Both of them bring a lot of assets to this table. I think both will fit very well with the teams that they wind up with.
Well, each owner brought jerseys of both. And by the way, whoever team that they don't go to, let's just say the Colts pick Peyton Manning. Wonder how much that Ryan Leaf Colts jersey would be worth at a charity auction. In 1983, John Elway was drafted first by the Baltimore Colts. Do you remember? Will the RCA Dome, a.k.a. the Big Horseshoe, will that become Peyton's place?
With the first pick in the draft, the Indianapolis Colts select quarterback, University of Tennessee, Peyton Manning.
Why is San Diego on the clock? They moved up from the 3 overall spot to the 2 spot, which was owned by Arizona, and they paid quite a price.
If we're ever going to be there and, get to the position where we want to be in the league, you can't do it without one of those guys. And if we're right in our evaluation that either one of these guys can take you there, then I think it was a deal we had to make.
The thing about Ryan Leaf is he brings a swagger to the game. There's an upside to Ryan Leaf that nobody's quite sure of because he hasn't played as much football as Ryan Leaf. He's got tremendous feet for a big man. He can back out, look left, turn and throw right, as well as any smaller quarterback I've watched film. And looking at a lot of it, I can tell you, he gets rid of the ball quickly. He moves very well for a big man, throws extremely well on the run. The only question you have is how long is it going to take for him to be able to be comfortable at this level? If you're going to compare him to one football player that's come out in recent years, he definitely would have to be compared to a Drew Bledsoe because he's that type of an athlete.
Well, he moves a lot better than people would think.
Oh, yeah.
Someone at 6'5 and a half, 245, and it led the team to the Rose Bowl. And a bomber in the Air Coryell Dan Fouts mold. He's in a good stadium, isn't he, with a little bit of history? Let's go to the commissioner.
With the second choice in the draft, the San Diego Chargers select quarterback, Washington State University, Ryan Leaf.
These kids, I say they're kids, but these young men who we've gotten to know a little bit, and I don't know either of them well, but they're just fun to be around, in addition to fun to watch play football. Is the ceiling higher in your mind for Ryan Leaf, Nell, than it is for Peyton Manning? As Alex Spanos, the owner of the Chargers, he brought 2 jerseys, too. He could file that Manning jersey and sell that at a charity auction. There he is, Ryan Leaf, 16. Is the ceiling higher on him, perhaps?
Well, I really believe, Chris, when you look back at this trade, San Diego moving up from 3 to 2, 5 years from now, it may not look like Bobby Beathard gave up enough. This kid has tremendous potential, great physical ability, throws the ball all over the field. And I think when you look at San Diego, they were fortunate to have this pick. They tried to trade away the 98 first-round pick in the second round last year. So Bobby Beathard fortunate to have that choice to get a Ryan Leaf. Touchdowns 33. Of course, he was